Latin for 5:47. The hour is coming. All the battle, everything's showing up. Everything's going to happen. It's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of action. Just boom, 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 boom. This is the last half hour of an action movie, right? So we're on 547, page 147 in your books. So around the third hour, scouts. Let's see. Scouts informed Caesar about Crassus's arrival. And on that day, Caesar had gone, and notice it's still present, but Caesar had gone 20 miles. Okay, again, to go 20 miles when there's no roads and you're using horses, but you're in a huge hurry, that's really quite something. Caesar, puts Crassus in charge at Samarobrivia. I can never say that place, but if you remember, that's where he had the Council of the Gauls when he first got back to Britain at the very beginning of Book 5. And if you want to feel old, that was in February. So, also if you want to feel old, today's Wednesday. Tuesday was 42 years ago. He puts Crassus in charge at Samarobriva, and he gave him, Crassus, a legion because he was, and that's way up north, right? That's in territories that are under dispute right now by the Gauls, because he was leaving a bunch of the army's equipment, all the hostages from the different states, or we don't want to say states, we want to say tribes, official correspondence, also known as public letters, and all the grain. So we need to guard it all, right? So he leaves a legion there with Crassus in charge. So Crassus is given a crucial but not deadly assignment, potentially. Again, I got to keep my partner's son safe, but I also need to give him a job that has a lot of honor and has a lot of importance to it. There's a lot of moving pieces here. Which he had gathered, he being Caesar, had gathered to that spot, Samarobriva. I always just say Samabrovia, and I know it's nothing like that, but there's also other words. I can't say the word hosiery very well. I had a teacher who couldn't say heroic or rural. I don't know. I had a student who couldn't say wolf. She'd say woof. But then if you had her say the plural of it, it'd be wolves, and she had no problem with that. She wouldn't say woofs. Just how it goes. Anyway, which he had gathered in that spot to endure the winter. So he had gathered a bunch of corn. Sorry, Elizabeth, wherever you may be. He had gathered a bunch of corn to that spot. So Crassus has a really important job. You got to guard all of our prisoners, our hostages, to keep the Gauls nice. You got to guard all of our public letters. We don't want anything happening to that. It's official correspondence. You got to guard all of our equipment. We certainly don't want them getting that. And you got to guard all the grain that we've got. Fabius, as he had been commanded, notice it's not a subjunctive there. As he had been commanded, and not delaying much, thusly, he meets Caesar en route or on his journey with a single legion. Okay, so that's page 147. Page 148. Yes. Okay, so now we get to Labanus. Labanus, since he had learned about the slaughter of the cohorts, and the death of Sabinus, since all of the forces of the Treviri had gathered against him, Labanus, he was beginning to fear that if he, because ne is a positive fear, that if he, Labanus, left the winter quarters in a way that was similar to retreat or flight, he, Labanus, would not be able to withstand the attack of the enemies. So, if you remember when the Sabinus and Cata had globed up, that was a really good idea, but then all the Gauls took that as like, oh, we've got him, and they pressed the attack. So Labanus, who had been asked, hey, for the good of the Republic, for the good of Rome, are you able to spare someone? Labanus is actually weighing this out. Instead of just going, yeah, boss, I got you. He's like, well, if we take off quickly, the other Gauls are going to think that we're retreating. And that's not good. And that they'll attack more. It's kind of like why you don't run from a dog that's barking at you. You just spark its chase instincts. So he wouldn't be able to hold up to the attack of the enemies, being the Gauls, especially enemies, those who he knew were, especially those whom he knew were bolstered by their recent victory, or by their fresh victory. So fresh. He sent back a letter or he sends back, still got the action going on in the present, sends back a letter to Caesar, and technically it's letters, but I mean, I love that hasn't changed in 2,000 years, to Caesar, telling him, saying how much danger, or with how much danger he would have to endure, or with how much danger he was going to lead his legion out of winter camps. Okay, so in other words, I can do it, but it's going to be a lot of danger. It's probably best that I don't. And he described the action amongst the Eburones. He wrote details about the rem gestam, the ambush, the attack amongst the Eburones. And he, this is still Labanus, explains, and notice Labanus is actually one of the very few who gets his name in the nominative here. He explains, Labanus does, that all the forces of cavalry and the foot soldiers of the Treviri have set up a camp, have concedisse, have set up a camp 3,000 feet, in other words, or 3,000 paces, so like 3 miles from his own camp. Dangerous, right? Everything's going on there. So that is 547, and then we're going to end it with 548. And then, if I recall correctly, yes, after that, you need to summarize the rest of it and finish the action. So, very exciting stuff, but notice Caesar is giving a lot of autonomy to his men. He told some guys, I need this here, I need this here, I need this here. Labanus, what can you do for me? Labanus says, I can't do anything, boss. I'm really sorry. I have to hold the line here. And Caesar's like, no problem. Here we go. That much trust, that much ability to, what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with a D. Delegate. That much ability to delegate your soldiers speaks volumes of the kind of leader that you are, if you can attract men who can actually be that good at their job to your cause. So Labanus is a big shiny star for Caesar. Anyway, I'm going to hit the button now.